Amina only wanted enough money to save her family. Never love, never danger, never a billionaire's attention. But when Leonardo Harrington quietly slid a contract across the table and said, "I'll pay you $1 million to walk away from me when I tell you to," she didn't realize she was selling something far more fragile than heartbreak, her own soul.
Before we dive in, take a moment to subscribe to the channel so you never miss these powerful stories. Your support means everything. It helps me bring you more emotional, inspiring tales every single day. Now settle in, turn up your volume, and let's begin today's unforgettable story.
Amina Roberts had learned to move quietly through the world, as if noise alone might reveal how close she was to falling apart. She swept the marble hallway of Harrington Towers with practiced ease, head down, earbuds tucked into her pocket, because management didn't allow distractions. But her distraction wasn't music, it was survival. Her phone buzzed in her apron pocket. Miriam again. "Please, God," Amina whispered under her breath, "let it not be another bill." She pulled out the phone discreetly. A message. "Miriam, the landlord came again. He said this is the final warning. We must pay the balance before the week ends." Amina closed her eyes. The balance. The amount she didn't have. The weight she could no longer carry. She typed back quickly. "I will fix it. Don't cry, I'll fix it." But even as she wrote it, the words tasted like lies. She shoved the phone back into her pocket, inhaled and forced herself to continue sweeping. She was 24, exhausted, hungry, and one overdue bill away from being put on the street. But she moved like someone determined not to break, not here. Not in this marble palace where billionaires walked past her like she didn't exist. From the far end of the hallway, a pair of expensive shoes clicked against the tiles. Amina straightened immediately. Leonardo Harrington walked with the quiet authority of a man who never needed to raise his voice to be feared. Tall, sharply dressed, jaw set with a permanent tension, he carried the kind of presence that made people step aside without thinking. But today, he didn't look powerful. He looked tired, as if he hadn't slept in days. His assistant, Carla James, walked beside him reading out schedules. "Mr. Harrington, you have the board presentation at 10, the investor call at noon, the charity interview at 3. "I know," Leo muttered. "Cancel the interview." Carla blinked. "But it's a mental health charity. I said cancel it." His voice wasn't angry, just heavy, as if kindness exhausted him. Amina kept sweeping, eyes lowered, praying he wouldn't notice her. People like him didn't see people like her, and that was how she preferred it. But fate has a strange way of pushing two worlds toward collision. Just as Leo walked past her, Amina's broom slipped from her grip and clattered loudly onto the marble floor. The sound echoed like a gunshot. Amina froze. Carla turned sharply. Leonardo stopped walking. Silence. Amina bent quickly to pick it up, her cheeks burning. I'm sorry, sir," she whispered. Leo looked at her. Not through her, at her. His eyes paused, lingering a second longer than necessary. Something unreadable crossed his face, a flicker. Curiosity? Recognition. Pain. Amina lowered her gaze immediately. "It's fine," he said softly. Carla blinked in shock. Mr. Harrington never said, "It's fine." Leo walked on without another word. Carla hurried behind him. Amina's hands trembled as she continued sweeping. Why had he looked at her like that? Like he saw something in her she didn't want anyone to see. But the moment passed, the hallway emptied, and she returned to being invisible.
Across the city, Leo Harrington entered his penthouse later that night, loosening his tie before the door even closed behind him. The silence hit him first. He hated it, needed it, feared it.
His mother's voice echoed in his memory. Love distracts strong men. If you want to lead, don't get attached. He had believed her, until belief became a cage. Leo slipped off his jacket and poured himself a drink he didn't really want. His mind replayed the image of the cleaning girl, the way her broom fell, the panic in her eyes, the exhaustion she tried to hide. He didn't know why she stayed in his thoughts. He barely knew her name. But something about her reminded him that pain was universal, and that scared him. He didn't want to feel anything, not anymore. Feeling led to losing. Losing led to pain. And Leo had sworn long ago that nothing would ever break him again. Meanwhile, Amina stepped into her tiny one-room apartment, locking the door behind her. Mariam sat on the mattress, hugging their worn-out pillow. "Amina, did you get paid today?" Amina forced a smile. "No, my pay comes at the end of the month." "That's 3 weeks away," she whispered. "What do we do?" Amina removed her shoes, her feet aching. "We survive," she said softly. "That's what we do." But later, when Mariam fell asleep, Amina sat on the floor with her back against the wall, staring at the darkness. Something inside her cracked. Silent, painful, private. She didn't cry. She didn't allow herself to. Instead, she whispered into the darkness. "I wish someone would give me one chance. Just one chance to save my family. I don't need much. I just need help." But help was never free, and nothing in this world came without a price. The next morning, Amina arrived early for her shift, sweeping the executive hall again. She didn't expect to see Leo. She didn't expect him to notice her. She didn't expect anything. But when she turned a corner, she found him standing alone, leaning against the railing, looking down at the city. He didn't turn, but he spoke. "You were crying yesterday." She froze. Her heart stopped. Her breath caught. "No, sir," she whispered quickly. "You must have been mistaken." "I don't make mistakes," he said quietly. She swallowed hard, gripping the broom. "I apologize, sir. It won't happen again." Leo turned around slowly, and in his eyes, Amina saw something dangerous. Not cruelty, not pity, interest. The kind that changes destinies. He stepped closer, voice low, steady, strange. "Amina Roberts, how much is your heart worth to you?" She blinked, confused. I don't understand." Leo held her gaze. "I'm willing to offer you something. Something that comes with a price." She swallowed, throat trembling. "What kind of price?" Leo stepped closer. $1 million. She gasped quietly. $1 million? To do what? He stared into her eyes, emotionless, guarded, broken. "To break your own heart when I tell you to."
For a moment, Amina thought she had misheard him. The hallway felt too quiet, the marble floors too cold, her heartbeat too loud. $1 million? She whispered. Leo didn't blink, didn't soften, didn't smile. "Yes," he said simply, "paid directly to you. No deductions, no conditions, except one." Amina swallowed. "And that is?" "When I tell you to walk away from me," he said, "you walk away. No questions, no contact, no explanations. You leave without looking back." Amina couldn't speak. Her fingers tightened around the broom until her knuckles whitened.
You're joking, she exhaled. Leo shook his head. I don't joke. Her heart pounded so loudly she felt it in her ears. But why? She whispered. Why would a man like you offer something like that to someone like me? Because, Leo said quietly, I don't want anyone to get too close to me. Amina stared at him. He continued, voice cold, but strangely fragile. I've learned that allowing people in leads to emotional chaos. I don't want to feel anything, not for anyone, ever again. Amina's lips parted. You think giving me money will make feelings go away? No, he said. I'm paying to control how it ends. The words struck her like an invisible slap. He wasn't paying for love. He was paying to destroy it, before it could destroy him. She stepped back unconsciously. Why me? You don't even know me. Leo's jaw tightened. You remind me of someone I once cared about. Someone I couldn't save. Someone who left. He paused, voice almost a whisper. And I won't make the mistake of caring again. Amina's chest tightened painfully. So, you want to use me as a reminder or as a replacement? Leo's eyes flickered, just slightly, but enough to reveal he hadn't expected the question. I want an arrangement. Nothing more. Amina blinked back tears she didn't want him to see. An arrangement where you break my heart on purpose. Yes, Leo replied. And you get $1 million for it. Amina's breath trembled. Her mind raced. Her mother's medicine, her sister's school fees, their overdue rent, the constant hunger, the bills drowning her, the endless nights she cried silently in the dark. $1 million could save her family. Not help, save. But at what cost? Why would you think I'd agree to something like that? She asked quietly. Leo looked at her with unsettling calm. Because you need it, and I can see desperation in your eyes. Amina looked away immediately, ashamed. He was right. And that terrified her. How long would this arrangement last? 6 months, maximum, Leah replied. And then you'll tell me to leave you? Yes. And I'll have to pretend it doesn't hurt? Yes. Her heart twisted painfully. And you'll pretend you never knew me, she said softly. Leo didn't answer. He didn't have to. Amina felt something sharp in her chest. Not love, not desire, but destiny, pulling her into a storm she might not survive. Why not pay someone who already has money? She asked, voice cracking. Why someone poor? Why someone with everything to lose? Leo's gaze softened, just a fraction. Because someone who has nothing to lose, he said, won't try to stay when I tell them to go. Amina closed her eyes. This man wasn't cruel. He was broken, shattered in ways he didn't know how to express. And he had chosen her, because he saw her as someone who could walk away. But what if she couldn't? When she opened her eyes, Leo's expression was unreadable. This is insane, she whispered. Most things involving emotions are, Leo said. That's why I avoid them. Amina looked at him deeply. And if I fall for you? Leo inhaled sharply, like the thought troubled him. That, he said quietly, is exactly why I'm paying. Amina's heart stuttered. So you're buying my heartbreak? Yes. And I have no right to ask why? No. And you have no intention of explaining yourself?
No. Amina let out a shaky breath. She felt trapped, pulled between survival and dignity, between family and self-respect, between a man who didn't want love and a heart that would shatter under the weight of it. "What if I say no?" she asked. Leo studied her for a long moment. "Then you walk out of this building," he said, "and I will never disturb your life again." "And if I say yes?" He stepped closer, so close she could feel the warmth of his breath. "Then," he murmured, "your life will change forever." Amina's voice trembled. "For better or worse?" Leo's eyes darkened. "For both." Silence filled the hallway. Heavy, fateful, dangerous. Finally, Leo extended a simple white card. "Take it," he said. "Think about it. Call me tonight with your decision." Amina stared at the card, at the billionaire's steady hand, at the offer that could save her life and destroy her heart. She took the card with trembling fingers. Leo's gaze lingered on her face, not with lust, not with arrogance, but a strange, painful longing he refused to acknowledge. "Don't take too long," he said softly. And then he walked away, leaving Amina in the hallway gripping the card like a lifeline she never asked for. When he disappeared around the corner, she finally exhaled the breath she'd been holding. Her whisper echoed in the empty corridor. "God, what am I supposed to do?" If you were in Amina's situation, would you take the $1 million or walk away? Share your thoughts below.
Amina sat on the edge of her bed that night with the white card pressed against her knee. Her room was dim, her sister fast asleep beside her. The card glowed faintly under the flickering bulb. Leonardo Harrington. Private line. She traced the embossed letters with trembling fingers. One call, one decision, one transaction that could rewrite her entire life. But every time she tried to dial his number, her hands froze. Her heart raced with conflicting thoughts. What if I say yes and lose myself? What if I say no and lose everything? She stood, paced the tiny room, then sat again. "No," she whispered to herself. "I can't do this. I can't be someone's emotional experiment." But then her eyes drifted toward the corner table, the stack of overdue bills, her mother's hospital reminders, the final eviction notice. Her stomach tightened painfully. "Maybe," she whispered, "this is the only way." But even as she said it, she felt the sting in her chest. Because she knew accepting Leo's deal meant living with a countdown, moments ticking toward the day he'd command her to walk away and pretend she didn't bleed for him. She was resisting something she already felt forming in her heart. At 11:27 p.m., her phone buzzed. A message from Leo. "You don't have to say yes, but don't punish yourself by staying silent." Amina closed her eyes, startled that he would reach out first. Silent? He didn't know silence was all her life had been. She typed back hesitantly. "I'm thinking." Leo replied within seconds. "Good, but don't think with fear. Think with truth." Amina stared at the message for a long moment. Fear was all she knew. Across the city, Leo stood at his penthouse window, staring down at the lights below. His phone was still in his hand, knuckles white. He didn't know why he texted her. He didn't text anyone first. He was resisting too. Resisting the part of himself that was curious. Resisting the warmth in his chest when he thought of her. Resisting the shame of making such a cruel offer. His mind replayed her face, the confusion, the hurt, the hope she tried to hide. His chest tightened. Stupid. I shouldn't have made that offer.
He poured a drink, took a sip, then set it down untouched. He didn't want alcohol. He wanted control. Control he was slowly losing. Gabriel Cade, his closest friend, stepped into the room without knocking. "You're doing that thing again." "What thing?" "Staring at the window like you're waiting for someone to fall from the sky." He looked annoyed. "Don't start." Gabriel raised an eyebrow. "What's her name?"
Leo's jaw clenched. "There is no her." Gabriel laughed softly. "You're a billionaire. When you lie, you should do it with more confidence." Leo didn't reply. Gabriel moved closer. "Who is she?" "A problem," Leo muttered. "Then why do you look worried about your problem?" Leo exhaled sharply. "She's not like the others." Gabriel's expression softened. "That's why you're afraid." Leo didn't deny it. Back in her apartment, Amina finally placed the white card on the floor and pressed both hands against her face. "I can't do this. I can't." Her voice shook. She stood, walked toward the window, opened it slightly, and breathed the cold night air. "I don't want to be someone's transaction." But the truth whispered back, "You also don't want to lose your home. Or watch your sister drop out of school. Or let your mother suffer without treatment." Her heart thudded painfully. She picked the card up again, dialed. 1 ring, 2, 3. Then she ended the call quickly, panic rising in her chest. "No, no, no, I can't." Her phone buzzed immediately. "Leo, call again when you're ready." Amina stared at the message. He wasn't pushing, he wasn't rushing, he wasn't demanding. That somehow made it harder. She threw the phone onto the bed, frustrated. "He's dangerous," she whispered. "Not because he's cruel, but because he's gentle in a way I don't trust." Her stomach tightened. She knew what was happening. She was resisting him and resisting herself. The next morning, Amina arrived at work early, again. She hoped to avoid him. She hoped the distance would give her clarity. But fate had other plans. As she turned a corner, she collided with a firm chest. She stepped back sharply. Leo. His usual cold expression softened the moment he saw her face. "You didn't sleep," he said quietly. Amina looked away. "I don't sleep much." "Because of the offer?" "Because of everything," she whispered. He studied her. "Amina, you don't have to take it." "I know. But you're considering it." "I don't have a choice," she said, voice cracking. "People like me don't get choices." Leo stepped closer. "Everyone gets a choice." She shook her head. "You don't understand my world. And you don't understand mine." His voice lowered. "I'm offering you money, yes, but I'm also offering clarity." "Clarity?" she whispered. Leo nodded. "You'll never wonder how the story ends." Amina's breath hitched. "You mean you'll decide when to hurt me?" Leo swallowed. "Yes." "And I'll take the money and disappear?" "Yes." "And that won't bother you?" But this time, he didn't answer quickly. His eyes held conflict she wasn't meant to see. For the first time, Leo resisted his own rules. And Amina realized something terrifying. She was already in too deep.
Amina tried to avoid Leo for the next 3 days. She changed her cleaning routes, took the stairs instead of the elevator, ate her lunch in a broom closet just to escape the possibility of seeing him. But avoiding a billionaire in his own building was impossible, especially one whose eyes followed her even when he pretended not to notice her. And fate, as usual, chose the worst possible moment to intervene.
On the fourth day, a heavy storm raged through the city. Sharp winds, flooded roads, lightning splitting the sky like cracked glass. Amina stood under the doorway of Harrington Towers after her shift, clutching her thin sweater around her shoulders. She waited for the rain to slow. It didn't. She waited for her bus. It never came. She waited for warmth. It didn't exist. Her phone buzzed with a message from her sister. "Amina, the landlord says tonight is the last chance. Please come home early." Amina's chest tightened. Home? The place she might lose by tomorrow? The thunder growled overhead. She stepped into the rain, trembling. She only made it 2 steps before a deep voice cut through the storm. "Amina!" She froze. Leo stood behind her under the building's awning, rain dripping from his hair, suit soaked, but his expression sharp with concern. "What are you doing?" he asked, stepping closer. "You'll get sick." "I have to get home," she said quietly. "In this?" He gestured toward the violent storm. "The roads are flooded. Taxis aren't stopping." She hugged herself tightly. "I don't have a choice." Leo studied her. The way her teeth chattered, the way her clothes clung, the way exhaustion weighed her down like stones. "Come with me." She shook her head immediately. "No." "Amina." "No," she repeated. "I don't want you to think I'm taking advantage, or that I'm already accepting your offer." His eyes softened. "This has nothing to do with the deal," he said quietly. "You're standing in a storm alone. I'm not leaving you here." She swallowed hard. "Why are you being kind?" Leo hesitated. Then spoke honestly. "Because I don't know how to watch someone struggle and do nothing." Her breath trembled. She wanted to refuse, she truly did, but lightning flashed again. So close, the sound vibrated through her bones. She flinched violently. Leo stepped forward. "That's it, Maui," he murmured. "Come with me." He turned his back as if knowing she'd follow. And she did. Not because she trusted him, but because for the first time in a long time, someone cared whether she reached home alive. Leo opened the back door of his car and motioned for her to enter. His driver stared with raised eyebrows. Leo never shared rides with anyone. Inside the car, Amina sat stiffly, hands clasped so tightly they hurt. Leo glanced at her. "You're freezing," he said quietly. "I'll be fine." "You're shaking." "I'm fine." Her voice cracked, betraying her. Leo reached for the car's temperature controls and raised the heat. Amina didn't look at him. The car moved through the storm slowly, wipers fighting to keep visibility. Leo watched her from the corner of his eye, how she shivered, how she stared out the window as if hiding something, how vulnerable she looked in the dim light. "Amina," he murmured, "you don't have to pretend with me." She stiffened. "I'm not pretending." "You are," he said gently. "You're scared. Of me, of the offer, of your life collapsing, and still you're trying to be strong." Her eyes burned suddenly. "Strength is all I have left," she whispered. Leo's jaw tightened. They drove in silence for a moment, until the car hit deep water and began to tremble. The driver cursed. "Sir, bridges are flooded. Most roads to her area are blocked." Amina's heart dropped. No, I need to get home." Leo leaned forward. "Take the alternate route." "There is no alternate route," the driver said. "Road's been closed due to a stalled truck." Amina flipped, her chest tightened painfully. My sister, she's waiting. Leo watched her panic rise. Amina, he said softly, come to my penthouse tonight. I'll take you home first thing in the morning. She shook her head quickly. No, absolutely not. Why? Because you're a billionaire and I'm... She stopped. He leaned in. You're Amina. And you're Leonardo Harrington. Our worlds don't mix. They just did. She looked away. This feels wrong. What does? Being near you, she said quietly. It feels like a line I shouldn't cross. Leo's voice softened. You're not crossing a line. You're staying dry during a storm. Amina swallowed, torn between fear and safety. Please, Leo added, quieter now. I'm not asking for anything. I won't mention the deal. Just don't suffer alone. Her eyes finally met his. He wasn't manipulating her. Not this time. He was sincere. Painfully sincere. She nodded slowly. Okay, she whispered. Leo sat back, relieved. Driver, Harrington residence. Yes, sir. The penthouse was warm, softly lit, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the storm. Amina stepped inside cautiously, dripping water, feeling out of place in every possible way. Leo watched her, the way she held herself small, the way she scanned the room like she expected to be told to leave. You're safe here, he said gently. I'm fine. Why are you so kind to me? Leo hesitated, then walked toward her slowly, stopping a few feet away. Because, he said softly, I know what it means to be alone, and I won't let you be. Her breath trembled. Their eyes held. Neither spoke. The storm raged outside. But inside, a different kind of storm was beginning. And neither of them could walk away now, even if they wanted to. Amina stood near the large window, watching the storm rage across the city. She didn't dare sit on anything, not the white leather sofa, not the velvet chair, not even the edge of the marble counter. Everything looked too expensive, too clean, too reserved for people like her. Leo walked into the living area with a towel and handed it to her. You're soaked, he said gently. Thank you, she whispered, taking it hesitantly. She dried her hair slowly, her fingers stiff from cold and nervousness. Sit, Leo said, motioning to the sofa. Amina shook her head quickly. I don't want to ruin anything. Leo studied her for a long moment. You think sitting on my sofa will ruin it? He asked softly. I don't know. I don't know how to be here. He stepped closer, but not too close. Amina, he said quietly, this is just a living room, not a throne, not a battlefield. Sit, you're allowed. She hesitated, then lowered herself onto the edge of the sofa, sitting as if she expected it to reject her. Leo sat across from her, not beside her. He respected the space between them more than she expected. You're shaking, he said. Are you cold or afraid? Amina looked down at her hands. Both. Leo leaned back slightly. You don't need to fear me. That's easy for you to say, she murmured. You have everything. I have nothing. Money is not everything.
Amina laughed, but it wasn't joyful. It was hollow. "People with money always say that," she whispered. "They don't know what it means to choose between electricity and food, or to watch someone they love get sick because hospitals demand deposits you don't have." Leo's expression softened. "Tell me," he said quietly. "I want to understand." Amina hesitated, but something in his voice, gentle, steady, uncharacteristically vulnerable, made her speak. "My father left when I was 12. He never came back. My mother worked as a seamstress, but she got sick last year. Kidney failure. Dialysis costs more than we make in 4 months." Leo's eyes lowered. "My sister is still in school," Amina continued. "I promised her she wouldn't drop out, but wages keep shrinking, bills keep rising, and the landlord—" Her voice cracked. "He keeps threatening us." She wiped her cheek quickly, embarrassed. "I'm tired. Every day feels like drowning." Leo swallowed. He didn't interrupt. He didn't pity her. He listened. "And now," she added softly, "I'm sitting in the home of the man who offered to buy my heartbreak." Leo flinched. "Amina." "No," she said gently. "I want to understand you too. Why did you make that offer?" Leo looked away, jaw tightening. She waited. Minutes passed. Finally, he spoke. "My father ruined my mother," he said quietly. "He had affairs, one after another. He broke her until she hated love so much she refused to let me feel it."
Amina's breath softened. "She told me love was weakness," Leo continued, "that emotions would destroy me, that the world is easier when your heart is empty." "That isn't true," Amina whispered. "I know," he said, "but when you grow up hearing something often enough, you start believing it." He exhaled shakily. "When I was 23, I fell in love with someone. Or I thought I did. She said she loved me too, until my mother offered her money to leave." Amina's eyes widened. "She took it," Leo said. "No hesitation, no goodbye, just gone." Amina's stomach flipped painfully. "And after that?" she asked gently. "After that," Leo murmured, "I promised I'd never let myself feel anything real again. Not without control, not without an exit." Amina's heart broke for him. "So, the deal you offered me," she whispered, "is my control," Leo said softly. "If something starts forming between us, I want to know I can end it before it hurts me." Amina inhaled sharply. "But that's not how love works." "I'm aware," he murmured. "Love doesn't respond to contracts. Love doesn't follow your rules." Leo met her eyes. "That's why I'm afraid of it." Amina's throat tightened. Silence filled the room, thick, emotional, honest. The storm outside softened into a gentle rain. "You're not cruel, Leo. You're scared. And you're not weak. You're tired." Amina looked away, blinking quickly. "I shouldn't be here." "Yes, you should. It's wrong. It's human." She shook her head, overwhelmed. "You're a billionaire. I clean floors." "So?" he murmured. "So we're different." "Different doesn't mean incompatible." She stared at him, breath trembling. "Are you trying to make me say yes to your offer?" "No," he said. "I'm trying to make you understand that the offer is not about money. It's about fear." Amina's eyes softened. "And what if I say yes?" Leo held her gaze. "Then I will give you money that changes your life, and you will walk away from me when I tell you. And what if, she hesitated, what if feelings come anyway? Leo's voice dropped. Then we both lose. Amina's heart sank, because, for the first time, she realized she had already started losing. She stood, flustered. I need water. Leo nodded, gesturing toward the kitchen. Second cabinet on the right. She walked slowly, needing space, not from him, but from the truth forming inside her chest. Leo watched her go. His eyes carried something she had never seen before. Not emptiness, not detachment, not superiority, but longing. Longing he didn't know how to name. Longing he didn't want to feel. Longing he didn't want her to see. But Amina saw it anyway. And it was the most dangerous thing in the room.
The storm had softened to a whisper now. Raindrops trailing down the tall windows like tears the sky hadn't fully decided to shed. The tension in the penthouse had shifted, softened. Amina stood in the kitchen, fingers trembling slightly as she filled a glass with water. She heard Leo's footsteps approach, slowly, quietly, almost cautiously, like he was afraid to disturb something fragile. "Amina," he said softly. She didn't turn. She couldn't. Her emotions were too close to the surface. "Amina," he said softly, "you shared a lot with me tonight. More than I expected, more than I deserved." She inhaled, steadying herself. "I didn't tell you everything," she replied quietly. Leo stepped closer, leaning against the counter beside her but not touching her. "I'm listening," he said. Amina turned her face toward him, her eyes glistening. "I'm afraid," she whispered. "Not of you, but of how easily you see through me." Leo's expression softened deeply. "I see myself in you," he murmured. "That's why you're so hard to ignore." Amina looked away, heart aching. "You shouldn't say things like that." "Why?" "Because it makes the decision harder." Leo exhaled. "And what decision is that?" Amina gripped the glass tightly, whether to walk away now or walk away later with a broken heart. For a long moment, Leo didn't speak. The silence between them grew warm, then dense, then unbearably honest. "You don't have to decide tonight," he finally said. "But you want me to," she whispered. He hesitated, then nodded once. "Yes." Amina's voice trembled. "Why? Why push me into something that hurts us both?" Leo looked down at his hands. "Because I don't know how to love without destroying the person I care about." Amina's breath caught. "And if you destroy me," she whispered, "I will pay you." He said softly, painfully, like the words cut him. "That's not love, Leo. It's the only protection I know." Amina stared at him. He looked strong, confident, powerful, but in that moment she saw a boy hurt too young and never healed. "Sit with me," he said suddenly. "Not as part of the deal, just stay." Something in his voice, soft, pleading, tired, pulled her toward him. They walked to the sofa, sitting a small distance apart. The air between them hummed with something delicate. "Amina," Leo began, leaning slightly forward, "when I was 16, my father left us. My mother told me it was because he was weak, because he loved some woman more than he loved his own family." Amina listened closely. "But the truth," Leo continued, "was that he laughed because she broke him. She controlled everything. She treated love like an illness." Amina swallowed. "That's why you fear it," she said gently. Leo nodded. "I don't know how to handle closeness. It feels dangerous." "Then why invite me into your world?" Leo met her eyes, raw, vulnerable.
"Because you don't want anything from me," he said. You don't pretend. You don't flatter. You're real. And everything in my life has felt fake for years." Amina's heart twisted. "Leo," she whispered cautiously, "I don't want your money." He smiled bitterly. "That's why I want you near." She looked away. This man, with all his power, wealth, and walls, was lonely in a way she understood too well. But she couldn't let that loneliness trap her. "Tell me something," she said quietly. "Something no one else knows." Leo hesitated, then did something unexpected. He removed his watch, a symbol of control, of time, of his strict, rigid life. He placed it on the table beside him. "I haven't worn this on a night I felt vulnerable," he admitted. "Tonight, I took it off." Amina felt her heart soften. "And you?" Leo asked. "Something about you." She inhaled slowly. "I'm tired of being strong. I want someone to be strong for me. Just once." Leo's eyes darkened with emotion. "Amina." He reached toward her hand, slowly, giving her time to pull away. She didn't. His fingers brushed hers. Warm. Hesitant. Real. Amina looked at their hands touching and felt her chest ache with the beginning of something dangerous. "Leo," she whispered, "if I stay tonight, it becomes harder to walk away later." He moved closer, voice trembling. "Then don't walk away." Her breath hitched. "That's not the deal." "I don't care about the deal right now." "But I do," she said softly. He exhaled, frustrated, longing, conflicted. "You're making this difficult," he murmured. "So are you." Their eyes locked. Amina's heartbeat thudded painfully. Leo's breathing grew uneven. They were close, too close, inches away from breaking every rule he created. "Amina," Leo whispered, his voice shaking for the first time. "Tell me to stop feeling this." She stared at him, tears forming. "I can't," she whispered, "because I'm starting to feel it too." A small broken sound escaped him, something between relief and fear. He leaned his forehead gently against hers. The contact burned. They stayed like that, not kissing, not touching more, just sharing breath, sharing loneliness, sharing truths they had run from too long. Amina finally stepped back, breath trembling. "Leo, if I stay any longer, I won't resist." Leo swallowed hard. "And if you don't resist?" he asked quietly. "Then we both fall." Leo closed his eyes. "Maybe falling is what I need." Amina shook her head. "No, Leo, you need healing." She hesitated. "And I need protection from you and from myself." They sat in painful silence. Two hearts, too scared to love. Two souls, too close to stop. And for the first time, Amina knew the truth. If she took the deal now, she'd lose more than just her heart. She'd lose the chance to save his, too. The next morning arrived too quietly. The storm had passed, leaving a pale, washed-out sky behind the windows of Leo's penthouse. Amina woke up on the guest room sofa, wrapped in a soft blanket she didn't remember pulling over herself. Her chest tightened when she remembered the night before. The closeness, the truths, Leo's forehead resting against hers, the beginning of something she wasn't supposed to feel. She stood slowly, smoothing her clothes, trying to force her emotions back into something manageable. She found Leo, already awake, sitting at the dining table with a cup of coffee, staring blankly at the wall. He noticed her and straightened immediately. "Amina,"
he said softly. "You slept?" "A little," she replied. He nodded, gaze lingering on her with a warmth he wasn't supposed to feel. "You shouldn't have stayed," he murmured. "You asked me to." He swallowed. "Yes, but I didn't expect it to matter this much." Her breath hitched. Before she could respond, the elevator chimed. Amina turned and froze. Leo's mother stepped out elegantly in a tailored suit, every line of her posture sharpened like a blade. Her eyes swept the room, cold, calculating, until they landed on Amina. The disgust was immediate. Leo stood. "Mother, what are you doing here?" "I should be asking you that," she replied icily, stepping closer. "And who," her eyes sliced into Amina, "is this?" Leo opened his mouth, but Amina spoke quickly. "I'm just leaving." But Mrs. Harrington blocked her path with a raised hand. "No, I want to see exactly what kind of girl spends the night in my son's home looking like she doesn't belong here." Her cheeks burned. "Mother," Leo tried again. Mrs. Harrington turned to him sharply. "Have you lost your mind? Look at her, Leo. Look at her clothes, her posture. This is clearly someone here for what she can get." Amina flinched, as if slapped. "That's not true," she whispered. Mrs. Harrington narrowed her eyes. "Oh, so you didn't come here hoping for money, access, a relationship?" Her lips curled. "Or perhaps you're one of those women who think seducing a man with money is the fastest path to a better life." Amina shook her head, tears filling her eyes. "I didn't seduce anyone." "She didn't," Leo said firmly. Mrs. Harrington ignored him. "You should know, girl," she said coldly. "Leo has a long list of women who think being near him is a shortcut. They come, they cry, they pretend to be fragile." "Mother!" Leo snapped, voice cracking. Mrs. Harrington turned slowly toward him. "Do you think this one is different? Do you think she cares about you?"
Leo, she is beneath us, beneath this life. She is here because she's desperate, because she wants something from you, and you, she pointed at his chest, are too blinded by loneliness to see it. Amina's throat closed, her vision blurring. She couldn't breathe. Leo stepped forward quickly. "That's enough. She's not what you're saying." "Oh, really?" his mother scoffed. "Then why is she here? Why is it cleaner from your building waking up in your penthouse?" Amina felt her heart shatter. She shouldn't have stayed. She shouldn't have let herself feel anything. Mrs. Harrington looked Amina up and down and said with pure venom, "Girls like you are always the same. You want to be rescued. You latch onto men like my son because you think money will solve your miserable little life." Amina's breath punched out of her chest. Leo stepped between them. "Mother, stop! She is not the one hurting me. You are!" Mrs. Harrington froze at the words, but her eyes narrowed. "So you admit it. You feel something for her." Leo hesitated. Only a second. Just a second. But Amina saw it. He didn't defend her fast enough. He didn't deny it strongly enough. He didn't protect her the way she needed. That single moment broke something inside her. Tears spilled before she could stop them. "I shouldn't have stayed here. I shouldn't have believed, even for a second, that you were different." "Amina!" Leo reached for her. She stepped back sharply. "No!" she said, shaking her head. "I can't be in this. I can't." Mrs. Harrington folded her arms triumphantly. Amina wiped her tears, voice cracking as heartbreak flooded through her. "I see now why you wanted the arrangement. You never wanted love. You wanted control, because you knew you'd break me anyway." Leo's face crumbled. "Amina, please." But she was already heading toward the elevator. "Don't follow me, Leo. Don't touch me. Don't call me. Not until you figure out what you really want." She stepped into the elevator, tears falling freely. Leo stood frozen, reaching toward her helplessly as the doors closed. His voice cracked. "Amina, don't go!" The doors sealed shut, And for the first time in years, Leo Harrington felt something he couldn't buy, control, or silence: the terror of losing someone he didn't know how to keep. Amina pressed her hand to her mouth as the elevator descended, her heart breaking open. She had walked away, not because she wanted to, but because she had to, because staying would destroy her completely. Have you ever walked away from someone you cared about because they didn't protect you when it mattered? Tell your story in the comments. Someone might need your strength.
The elevator ride felt endless. Amina clutched her chest, breathing in short, broken gasps as tears streamed down her face. She didn't care who saw her. She didn't care how weak she looked. She only knew one thing: she couldn't stay in Leo's world. Not if it meant being humiliated, diminished, or seen as desperate prey by a woman who didn't even know her name. When the elevator doors opened to the lobby, she rushed out, ignoring the stares, the whispers. Rain still tapped gently outside, and she stepped into it like she needed the sky to wash her clean. She walked home in silence, her clothes soaked, her heart torn, her soul exhausted. Leo stood frozen in the penthouse long after the elevator doors sealed shut, his chest rising and falling in uneven breaths. He didn't chase her. He couldn't. Something inside him had cracked too violently. Gabriel arrived minutes later, after being called by the building staff. "What happened?" he asked, stepping into the living room. Leo didn't answer at first. He just stared at the closed elevator. "She left," he whispered finally. Gabriel frowned. "Who left?" "Amina." That name, spoken with a pain Gabriel had never heard from him, made him straighten. "Leo, what did you do?" Leo dragged a hand through his hair, pacing. "My mother showed up. She said things she had no right to say. She attacked her character, her background, her intentions." He swallowed tightly. "And I didn't stop her fast enough." Gabriel's face fell. "Oh, Leo." Leo slammed a hand on the table, voice cracking. "I hurt her. I hurt her exactly the way I said I wouldn't." Gabriel walked closer. "Do you love her?" Leo froze. He didn't speak for a long time. He didn't breathe. He just stared at the floor like the truth had been waiting there all along. "I don't know how to love. I don't know how to choose someone without destroying them." Gabriel said softly, "You can't keep blaming yourself for things you didn't do. What happened to you as a child wasn't your fault." Leo clenched his jaw. "But how I respond now is my fault. And I let Amina walk out thinking she was small, thinking she was nothing, thinking she wasn't worthy of me." Gabriel rested a hand on his shoulder. "You can still fix this." Leo shook his head, voice shattering. "She walked away." "Then go to her." Leo's throat tightened. "What if she doesn't want me?" Gabriel smiled sadly. "What if she does?" Leo looked out at the city, at the thousands of windows and millions of people, and whispered the truth that terrified him most. "I'm afraid to face her. Because she matters." Leo closed his eyes. "I need time," he murmured.
But Amina didn't need time. She needed healing. She needed reassurance. She needed courage and peace and warmth, things she had never been given. Amina reached her apartment door with shaking hands. Mariam rushed to her immediately. "Amina, where were you? I was scared." Amina forced a smile. "I'm okay," she whispered. "I promise." But she wasn't okay. Her sister's arms wrapped around her, grounding her, anchoring her to a world that made sense, a world where love didn't need contracts or conditions. Mariam pulled back, studying her tear-stained face. "You're lying," she whispered.
What happened? Amina sank to her knees, sobs breaking free. I got carried away. I believed someone cared. I let myself believe a lie. She cried into her sister's lap until she couldn't breathe anymore. She cried for every moment she felt seen, for every moment she forgot her place in the world, for every moment she let hope slip into her heart. When she finally calmed down, Mariam stroked her hair gently. You've never been a lie, Mariam said softly, and if someone made you feel that way, they don't deserve you. Amina wiped her cheeks. I walked away, she whispered. I chose myself. Then you made the right choice, Mariam replied. But Amina wasn't sure, because choosing herself meant losing Leo. And losing Leo felt like losing a part of herself she didn't even know she had. Leo stood alone in his penthouse that night. The silence was louder than any storm. He stared at the spot where she had stood hours earlier, where her tears fell, where her voice trembled when she told him she couldn't stay. He sat. He folded his hands, and for the first time in years, he prayed. Please, he whispered, don't let this end like everything else in my life. He wasn't praying for her to return. He was praying for courage. The courage to face his fears, the courage to repair what he broke, the courage to choose love for once and not run from it. Amina lay on her thin mattress, staring at the shadows on the ceiling. She replayed every moment in Leo's penthouse, the warmth, the closeness, the way he looked at her like she mattered. But she also replayed the moment his mother called her nothing, and the moment Leo hesitated. That hesitation hurt more than the insult. She closed her eyes tightly. Do I go back? Or do I let him go forever? It was a choice she didn't want. It was a choice she wasn't ready for. But fate wasn't asking whether she was ready. It was asking whether she was brave enough to choose. If you were Amina, would you give Leo another chance? Or is one hesitation enough to walk away forever? Share your truth below.
3 days passed. 3 painfully long days where Amina avoided her phone, avoided the building, refused to think, refused to feel. She focused on work, on sweeping floors and wiping desks, on keeping her hands busy so her heart wouldn't break any further. But no matter how hard she tried, Leo occupied every corner of her mind. The way he looked at her, the way his voice softened only around her, the way he reached for her like he was reaching for something he thought he could never have, the way his eyes shattered when she walked away. Leo didn't sleep for those 3 days. Not truly. He paced his penthouse at night, worked aimlessly during the day, avoided meetings, ignored calls, and pushed away anything that required a functional heart. He replayed his mother's words. He replayed Amina's tears. He replayed his own hesitation. 1 second, just 1 second of silence on his part, and it had cost him everything. On the evening of the 3rd day, Gabriel arrived, dropping himself onto Leo's sofa with a tired sigh. Are you planning to mope forever, or should I call a therapist? Go home, Leo muttered. No. Leo glared at him. Gabriel leaned forward, voice steady but firm. Leo, love is a choice. You can't keep waiting for courage to appear in your chest like magic. Leo said nothing. Gabriel continued. Amina broke your heart, but you didn't do it intentionally. Still, that doesn't change the fact that you hurt her, and the only way forward is simple. Leo scoffed. Nothing about this is simple. It is. Gabriel folded his arms. Apologize, fight, choose her, and stop letting your mother define every decision you make. Leo froze. Gabriel had never spoken to him like that. He swallowed hard, fear and determination tightening his chest. I'm scared, Leo whispered. Gabriel put a hand on his shoulder. Good, he said. It means she matters. That same evening, Amina walked home after a long shift, a bag of groceries in hand, exhaustion pulling down her limbs. She turned onto her street and froze. A sleek black car she recognized from the penthouse sat parked near her building, and leaning against it, hands in pockets, looking like a man terrified to breathe. Leo. Amina's heart dropped into her stomach. No, not here, not now, not when she finally started to convince herself he was a mistake. She tried walking past him, but Leo stepped forward immediately. Amina. His voice broke on her name. She kept walking. Amina, please. She closed her eyes. Leo, go home. No. Please don't do this here. I have to, he said quietly, following her. I can't lose you. Her chest tightened painfully. She turned to him, eyes burning. You already did. Leo swallowed. That's why I'm here. Amina didn't answer. She opened her apartment door, stepping inside. Leo hesitated at the threshold. She didn't invite him in, but she didn't shut the door either. That small space between them became the place where everything could be repaired or destroyed. Leo spoke first. I'm sorry. Amina blinked, stunned by the sincerity in his voice. I'm sorry I didn't protect you. I'm sorry I hesitated. I'm sorry that my fear hurt you. His voice trembled. I'm sorry for every moment you felt beneath me. You never were. Amina looked away, tears pooling.
Your mother is wrong about you, Leo said immediately, firmly, powerfully, and she's wrong about me. He stepped inside fully now, closing the door gently. I let her poison me for years. I let her shape my fears and feed them. And then you came into my life, and I didn't know how to react. You reacted by trying to buy my heartbreak, Amina whispered. Yes, he said painfully, and it was the cruelest thing I've ever done. Amina clenched her jaw. So why are you here? Leo's voice dropped to a trembling whisper. To end the contract. She blinked. What? Leo stepped closer. I'm ending it. Before it starts. Before it ruins you. Before it ruins me. Amina's chest tightened. Why? He breathed out shakily. Because I don't want to pay you to walk away. His voice cracked. I want to fight for you to stay. Her breath caught. Leo moved closer, slowly, gently, respectfully, until they were inches apart. Amina, I don't want control anymore. I don't want rules. I don't want fear. His voice dropped even softer. I want you. Amina's tears fell. Why now? Why after everything? Because losing you showed me something I'd spent my whole life avoiding. He cupped his trembling hand near her face, but didn't touch her. I know how to run. I know how to protect myself. But I don't know how to live without you. Her lips parted. And your mother? Amina whispered. I don't care what she thinks. This is my life, my choice, my heart. Amina stared at him, broken open and terrified. Leo, if I choose you, you can't break me again. He stepped closer. I won't. I swear it. Silence. Heavy. Hopeful. Dangerous. Amina took a breath that shook her entire being and whispered, Then choose me. Fully. Leo didn't hesitate this time, not even for a second. He took her hands, both of them, pressing them against his chest where his heart beat hard and fast beneath her palms. I choose you. Not because I can control you, not because I need to protect myself, but because you are the only person who's ever seen me for who I really am and didn't run. Tears streamed down Amina's cheeks, and this time, she didn't pull away. She stepped into his arms slowly, like a decision made with trembling courage. Leo held her carefully, gently,
as if she were something precious, irreplaceable, sacred. Because to him, she was. He whispered against her hair, "No more contracts, no deals, no money, just us." Amina closed her eyes, and for the first time since meeting him, she allowed herself to believe in a love she never expected. A love she didn't have to buy, a love she didn't have to fear, a love that finally felt real. Later that night, Leo walked her to her door again. But this time, he didn't leave broken. He left chosen. And Amina didn't stand alone. She stood with the man who almost bought her heartbreak and ended up giving her his heart instead. Do you believe people can heal enough to love again? Or does fear always win until someone brave shows up? Share your thoughts. Someone reading might need your hope.
If this story touched your heart, please like the video, subscribe for more emotional stories, and comment your thoughts. I always read your feedback.